Today we dive into 3 raw confessions that cut to the core of love and loss. First, a torn Plan B box that turned a quiet kitchen into a crime scene. Second, the crushing reality of an infertility diagnosis that reshaped a couple's future. Finally, the quiet evidence of a hidden affair that forced a family to choose between denial and truth. Each story is told with compassion, honoring the pain while shining a light on the resilience that follows betrayal. Stay with us as we explore how broken trust can become a path to healing. When I finally lifted the trash bag, the crumpled Plan B box stared back like a confession written in torn paper. I had a vasectomy years ago, so the very idea of emergency contraception made no sense. My heart hammered as I imagined my wife's hands shaking, her silence louder than any accusation. The kitchen lights flickered, casting shadows that seemed to whisper doubts. I stood frozen, a knot tightening in my chest, wondering whether this was a careless mistake, a hidden affair, or a desperate plea for something I could not comprehend. I clung to the hope that love could somehow rewrite this cruel verdict. We had married 5 years ago after meeting in a college art class, bonding over paint-splattered canvases and late-night coffee. He was my steady anchor, the man who promised forever with a soft laugh and gentle kisses. Our home filled with shared playlists, weekend hikes, and the quiet comfort of knowing each other's rhythms. He never missed a birthday, always remembered the exact shade of my favorite nail polish, and supported my career moves without hesitation. The idea of betrayal felt impossible, a foreign script that could not fit into the narrative we had carefully written together and shared hope. I confronted him the next morning, voice trembling but demanding honesty. He stared, eyes widening, then broke into tears, confessing an affair that had ended weeks ago. He claimed guilt, begged for forgiveness, and offered therapy, but the damage was already etched into my soul. I packed a suitcase and stayed with my brother, using the space to process the betrayal. Over months, I attended counseling, rebuilt my self-worth, and eventually filed for divorce, recognizing that love cannot thrive on lies. Today I live alone, stronger, and have started a support group for others navigating similar heartbreak. Now we shift to a different kind of pain, grappling with a loss that feels like a silent betrayal. The next confession explores how a medical verdict can shatter dreams, leaving a couple to rebuild their future on a foundation they never imagined. Stay with us as we walk through the raw emotions that follow a diagnosis that changes everything. The doctor's words hit the room like a dropped hammer: "You cannot have children." My wife's shoulders slumped, and a raw sob escaped her lips, echoing through the sterile hallway. I felt the floor shift beneath us, our dream of a bustling family dissolving in an instant. Tears streamed down my face as I imagined the future we had planned: first steps, birthday cakes, tiny handprints on our walls. The silence that followed was deafening, each second stretching into an eternity of grief and unanswered questions. I wanted to shout, to protect her, yet my own heart trembled with helplessness. I clung to the hope that love could somehow rewrite this cruel verdict. We met in college, both art majors, bonding over late-night studio sessions and shared playlists. After graduation, we moved into a tiny apartment, filling it with paintings, plants, and endless laughter. Over 7 years, we built a life of mutual support. I encouraged her freelance design career, she cheered me through my marathon training. Our friends called us the perfect pair, always planning trips and dreaming of a future filled with children's giggles. When she proposed adopting a rescue dog, we celebrated, seeing it as a step toward the family we longed for. The idea of parenthood was woven into every conversation, a promise we both cherished and shared hope. After months of therapy, I wrote her a heartfelt letter, apologizing for my frustration and promising to stand beside her through grief. The next morning, I surprised her with breakfast, blueberry pancakes, bacon, and fresh orange juice, hoping food could soften the ache. She read my words, tears spilling, then embraced me, whispering that she would seek counseling too. Together we booked a trip to Japan, a pilgrimage to reset our hearts amid cherry blossoms. The journey gave us space to breathe, to mourn our lost dream, and to rediscover intimacy beyond parenthood. Today we return home, still childless, but united, hopeful, and rebuilding our love on new foundations. Finally, we confront the silent evidence that exposed a hidden affair and forced a painful decision. The last confession shows how a single piece of discarded paper can unravel years of trust, leaving a person to choose between denial and the truth that demands to be faced. The shredded Plan B box lay crumpled in the kitchen trash, a silent accusation I could not ignore. I stared at the torn pieces, mind racing through every possible lie my wife could tell. We had shared a vasectomy years ago, a decision made together, which made the existence of emergency contraception impossible. My pulse pounded as I imagined hidden nights, secret meetings, and a betrayal deeper than any argument. The weight of the evidence pressed against my throat, forcing a bitter taste of doubt. I felt my world tilt, realizing that the foundation of our marriage might have been built on a lie I never saw coming in the quiet. We married after a whirlwind romance that began at a summer music festival, dancing under fireworks and promising forever. For 8 years we built a life of routine comforts, Sunday brunches, weekend road trips, and quiet evenings where we shared the day's triumphs and failures. He was my confidant, the person I trusted with my deepest insecurities, and we celebrated milestones together, from his promotion to my first marathon. Friends admired our partnership, calling us the solid couple. The idea that he could betray me felt like a nightmare, an impossible script that didn't fit the love we had nurtured. It seemed absurd that the man who held my hand at midnight could ever stray. I confronted him the night I found the torn box, demanding honesty while my voice shook with anger. He broke down, admitting to an affair that had ended weeks ago, insisting the Plan B was a relic from a panic he never used. He begged for forgiveness, but the betrayal cut deep, leaving me numb. I moved out to my brother's house, using the space to process grief and anger. With therapy, I reclaimed my self-respect, eventually filing for divorce. Today I live independently, focusing on personal growth, and I volunteer at a local crisis center, turning my pain into purpose for others facing similar betrayals and finding new strength daily. Every shattered trust can become a stepping stone towards self-discovery. Remember, you are worthy of honesty and love. What would you have done? Drop your thoughts below. Share your story, and let's support each other on the road to healing. Your voice matters, and together we can turn pain into power, one confession at a time.